Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is the Geek Slays, and welcome back to the Scuffed Ass Podcast, episode number 154. We brought Wunder back because I'm awful at finding guests for the show. It also is a bit of a problem. Starting the Run the North podcast with Jake and Miller, it's really hard for me to think, oh, I'll invite Jake on my normal show this week. Because it's like we're going to have this whole conversation, like the same type of conversation on our own show later in the day. They both release on Friday. Like it just doesn't feel right to have it be those two anymore. So gonna have to figure that out. Shit, maybe it's all about just having Wunder come back as the guy, except that might not work exactly how I want it to, because we'd have to record a different day than Thursday because darts.
Yeah, pretty much the only time I would have time to record would be like Tuesday nights.
Or the weekend, maybe.
Or the weekend, yeah, maybe.
Oh, by the way, I can't, and you cannot say why either, but are you still going to the one thing with me tomorrow night for that person we know? We can't reveal it because there's a chance he listens to this before the night comes. I really can't reveal more information, but we talked about this. What were we? I
have a feeling I kind of know what's kind of.
Just check
I feel
your
like
fucking
this
phone.
Is probably
Just you're not doing enough. My watch, even though I just sat down, is telling me it's time to stand back up. That's pretty funny.
Oh. Yeah, I think I should still be free for that.
Okay. And then come home and do some gaming.
Yeah.
Do maybe some Black Ops 3, and I've been having fun with it. Though I do not enjoy playing the multiplayer alone, which should surprise no one. If you've met me, if it's a multiplayer game, I do not enjoy it alone, outside of maybe zombies. But that's because it's not built to be multiplayer. It's built to be solo or co-op, so I can do zombies alone just fine. I'd much rather play zombies with people, which as soon as I get money, I'm forcing you to buy all the DLCs for Black Ops 3. If I have to pay for them, I have to pay for them. I don't care. It's not even for the multiplayer. Like, I want to be able to play all of the zombies maps, not just the one.
Right.
The one that, even if we play together, the two of us is not enough people to do the Easter egg for it. We have to have 4 people. I don't know 4 people or 2 people other than you on PlayStation who would play zombies with us. I just don't. Like,
that's fair.
So, like, that map's just kind of like a waste at this point. I love Shadows of Evil. It's one of the best zombies maps ever. But oh my god, it's something.
Yeah.
Man, that's a choice.
It's a bad choice. I haven't played zombies in so long.
It's all right. We can get back into it. That's gonna be that's the move. 2023. We get back into the games that are actually fun. I'd love for Fortnite to be considered one of those games that are actually fun, but like, dude, I don't want to put in the hours to remain good at that game. Like, it takes too much playing to like be decent enough to where you don't hate your life.
Yeah.
You know,
especially me who's trying to learn how to do shit.
I mean, I am too. That game on mouse and keyboard, it's not like Valorant, where you're moving and then you maybe push, 3 or 4 other buttons. No, to build, you're pressing 20 different things, and like, it's a lot. It's a lot to learn. It's one of those, I wish I would have had a PC when Fortnite first came out. Learned with that game, I bet I'd be great, but that's not how it happened.
Oh. It's such a long day at work.
Oh, yeah? Why's that? Because it was cold?
That, and the wind was blowing.
Yeah.
And the roads sucked.
Yeah.
We had a black S10 pass us, and I no longer said that guy's going to have an accident. He slid off the road and rolled onto his roof.
Jesus.
He was fine.
Oh,
He was fine
well,
though.
that's good.
Yeah. I stayed down in the trench holding a surveying tool that we use to keep pipe level, and the snow was blowing into the hole, and I look like a snowman because my coat I wear is fuzzy.
Yeah.
And it was not a good time. That was pretty good because I wore my bibs.
Oh.
It was my feet that were cold.
Oh, I bet.
So I forgot to put my wool socks on.
Oh, so it's officially been announced. Trey Parker, Matt Stone, the guys who make South Park, they bought Casa Bonita back in during COVID or before COVID. They bought it in 2019, and it's been closed since then. It's officially reopening in May or March. When's it reopening? May 2023. Checking their Twitter, they're also now hiring. They're hiring 500 people before the grand reopening. That's a lot of people.
Holy shit.
That's a lot of people. Okay, new question. Because maybe I just don't remember. Was Casa Bonita always pink? Like the building? Apparently, yes, kind of.
I think it
was it was less pink before. Now it's
less vibrant.
Now it's like pink. Oh, that's noises. It's pink now, which is funny. I don't really want to talk football on here, but I saw so you saw my video last night yelling about the coach of the year stuff. And then I saw that you saw today's video yelling at the guy.
Yeah, I commented under that. I was like, that's gotta burn.
Dude, oh my God.
That one might have burned a little bit.
Dude, you don't even know. It's funnier than even what you saw. Because I made that video and the guy commented his first response to the actual receipts of me telling him he's fucking stupid was, your opinion doesn't count as a professional opinion. Technically, first of all, yes, the fuck it does. This is my job.
You get paid to do this.
So by all technicalities, yes, I am a professional sports analyst by all technicalities.
I was about to say, did you ask him, do you get paid to talk sports?
No, I just responded to that. I was like, way to ignore the rest of the video to only try to take shots at me. We get it. You know nothing about ball. Less than 5 minutes later, he deleted that comment and disappeared.
It's great.
Don't come at me when I can get the receipts to prove you wrong.
All I can say is this is funny, and it's all fun and games until one of these people freaking swat you somehow.
Okay.
So, I mean,
don't worry, I've already
swat you.
But even if they do, it's not that. Well, not only that, because of where we live, I've already had this conversation with Corey. It's not going to go the way people think it will for me, because you know what'll happen? You'll call them, and then he'll call me. And be like, hey, you all good? And it's like, yeah. It's like, well, we got this call. And it's like, dumbasses.
That happens.
Yeah.
The good thing is he's kind of technologically savvy, right? So he understands what you do and why.
Well, and just explaining it to him, like, this is something that could happen down the road. Like, just know that people could call and say some really wild shit to you, like maybe don't bust down the door with a bunch of guns ready to shoot, because it might sound bad from the outside depending on what game we're playing. I might be screaming lots of obscenities. I really might. But
well, The thing about busting down doors in the state of Wyoming, they really don't do that.
That's
Most of the
also a
times
good
they
point.
knock first because busting down doors in the state of Wyoming, even as police officers, it's a good way to get shot.
That's valid.
We have
Yeah.
more guns than we do people. So,
That's a good guy. Oh, man. Yeah. But just that whole argument was funny. The amount of people in my comment section on that video saying the Eagles were only projected 6 wins. Where are you getting this information? Now, if you go back going into 2021, they were projected like 4.5, but that was before Jalen Hurts had started for a full season, and nobody really knew if he was going to be any good. Everybody was still making the bet on he wasn't really that guy in college, and all I was sitting there saying, you remember this, Jalen Hurts only gets better. That's what he does every year of his life. He has gotten better. To pretend that now he's reached his ceiling, let's wait until he actually plateaus to pretend he's reached his maximum level, right?
right at this point, he's shown more consistency than Josh Allen. So
100%. I mean, it's weird.
Don't get me wrong. I still love Josh Allen.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'll
still call things out as I see it.
I think that's a big issue on the internet and just with people in general. I will talk about Josh Allen and how he has not played great this year. This was his worst season since his rookie year, and I don't really think anyone can argue that. Now, if their offense would have looked like it did week 1 against the Rams all season, Josh Allen's MVP and you win the Super Bowl. But that's not what happened. Josh Allen started doing the same thing everybody was saying Dak Prescott is a bad quarterback for, which was a ton of turnovers at bad spots. What is the thing between Allen and Dak that they both, like, what causes all of these turnovers by these two guys?
Right. Well, they're really reckless. I mean,
well, it's not just I don't know if reckless is the right word, but they both have really good arms. They both have a bit of that, not as people, but as players, a bit of that Brett Favre gene in them. That the gunslinger gene, which works, but you live by the gunslinger, you die by the gunslinger.
Yeah.
Now, they might win you one because if all of those shots work, there you go. But sometimes you take that shot at a time when it's very bad for your team and it costs you the game. We saw that with Favre a lot. We're seeing that with Dak a lot. We're beginning to see that with Allen.
Well, I have mixed emotions about that because, on one hand, you want them to be smart with the ball.
Yep.
On the other hand, you want them to try and win.
Yep.
So, in my mind, I would rather them be the gunslinger and take that risky throw versus on 4th down or 3rd down, throw it 3 yards to your tight end. And
well, it even then, it even comes to like the Aaron Rodgers debate, right? Where Aaron could be that gunslinger type of guy, but he's not. Now, he'll still make throws where most people go, why the fuck would you throw that, as he's letting it go? But then because it's Aaron Rodgers, it somehow magically works. But we've also never seen Rodgers be like the reason his team loses a game. It's never a bad throw. It's never that. There's a lot of other stuff that goes wrong, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I'm worried for the Bills.
Football.
Because how do you improve from here? You have no money. Josh Allen's extension kicks in now. You're paying he's counting $45 million against the cap this year. That's a lot of money. You're paying Von Miller a lot of money. Like, do you just hope everyone gets healthy and that maybe healthy we got it? But betting on 32-year-old Micah Hyde and 33-year-old Jordan Poyer and 36-year-old Von...
I don't think Poyer's going to be here
He
next
might
year.
not be. But then betting on Von Miller, who's like 35, to get better and or to stay healthy. Or
I was about to say, not so much get better, just stay healthy.
No, yeah. You know, can you bank on those guys to stay healthy? I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the Bills seem to surprise me every year on what they do. So
that's fair.
I don't know. Maybe Josh Allen will be like, hey, or pull a Tom Brady and be like, hey, I don't need this much money.
I don't think he does
here's
that.
$10 million to go pick up this dude or something like that, So, I don't think he'll do that. He's still young. So.
Right. Maybe third contract comes around and he's smart and takes less.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I don't know.
But
we'll see.
There's also, I don't know. The biggest issue is the cap, because, like, Adam Thielen would be a cool guy for the Bills to trade for, because Josh Allen could finally have a real reliable red zone threat for whatever reason. Adam Thielen inside the 20, best receiver in football.
Yeah.
Like, that just...
I think that's something that really the Bills need to work on.
Right.
You look at their successes from inside the red zone.
What is the Bills?
Atrocious.
NFL red zone.
Like, from my perception, their inside red zone stuff is like bottom of the totem pole.
Okay, so
I could be wrong, but I don't.
NFL team red zone scoring percentage on touchdown only. The Bills are ranked 9th. Just behind the Minnesota Vikings. But also, it's weird. So the number 1 team is Dallas with 71.43%. The number 2 team is Kansas City with 70.67%. Then Philly at 68, Detroit at 66, Cincy at 65, the Giants at 64, Tennessee at 64, the Vikings at 63, Buffalo at 60. So there's like a kind of large drop from 8 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the drop from 8 to 9 is about the same as the drop from 1 to 4. Like, and
that's fair.
But the thing for the Bills, Dawson Knox is not that good.
No.
Dude, I don't know what Bills fans were seeing. Like, people early in the season were telling me he was better than TJ Hawkinson. No, the fuck. No. Like,
no, I will say he's solid in some aspects.
He's not bad, but
like, I've seen him make some really good catches, and then again, I've also seen him drop some really critical passes that were just easy. My grandmother could have caught passes, and that's what kind of throws me off from him.
That's kind of the thing with the Bills. Their weapons aren't as good as people think they are.
Yeah,
Diggs is Diggs. Nobody's gonna. I'm not gonna argue against him. But Gabe Davis isn't this legit number 2. He's like a good number 3 who can flash. Like I said last time we talked, he's KJ Osborne, but a little faster, which actually doesn't work out because KJ has better hands, which I'd rather have better hands than speed. Like, I want you to make the catch. I don't care what you can do with it after. You got to make it first.
Which makes me think that maybe the Bills need to, they definitely need to get Josh Allen some more weapons that are more reliable. Like, Diggs can't be the only person that Josh Allen can feel comfortable throwing to. Like, I wonder what Josh Allen would do if he got thrown on to a team like the Bengals, where every receiver he throws to could be a top, like a number 1 or number 2 receiver on any team.
Right.
So.
Right. And then the running back situation. I know the Bills have invested a lot in running backs. The 2nd round pick on James Cook. Currently Devin Singletary. The trading for Nyheim Hines. I'm starting to get the hiccups. It's a problem.
Starting to backfire.
Like you have all of those guys,
Yeah.
but like none of them are that good. Like
Right. I
James
think Cook has a chance to
Right.
become something really good.
But it's a tough
he's
thing.
developing.
But it's
he
also a
needs
tough
to-
thing if
he needs to do it quickly.
If it
Because
picked
for running
23, if it picked 23, Bijan Robinson, the running back out of Texas, is there. Like,
Right.
do you consider it? I don't think so, because at this point, you need defense and O-line way more than you need another running back or even another receiver outside of, like, if Jackson Smith and Jigba is there, the guy out of Ohio State, who is more of the little shifty slot guy who can just get open. Like if he's there, yes. I feel like he's going to be like a top 10 pick. So I don't know if he shouldn't be there. So what do you do? Like I think you need another edge rusher. Maybe Greg Rousseau can take a step again, maybe.
Yeah.
But then but like outside of Von Miller, you have no juice on that pass rush at all. Maybe Ed Oliver takes a step, but it's been 3 years or 4 years. Does he really have that many more steps he can take?
Right.
Like,
yeah. I thought, what the hell's the middle linebacker for the?
Oh, Matt Milano?
No.
Or Tremaine Edmonds.
It might be Tremaine Edmonds. He's got the long black hair.
Yep.
Kind of a bigger guy.
Edmonds probably won't be a Bill next year.
Yeah. Well, he did really well.
Yep.
I was surprised because I thought he was going to suck.
Because he has forever. Because you remember me talking about him last year. Because I was like, Tremaine Edmonds, he's been like leading the league in tackles every year. But he's actually not that good. Like tackles are a very misleading stat.
Right.
All you got to do is be the closest guy to the guy who runs out of bounds. Or technically, you guys can have him stood up, but they haven't blown the whistle yet. I come jump in the pile. I get credited with the tackle the same as the rest of you. But he took a big step this year. He's also...
This was definitely his best year he's ever had. Oh, yeah.
And he's also only 24. Which is wild because he's been in the league for 5 years. But
well, he's a pretty big dude, for a middle linebacker.
Right.
He's pretty big.
6'5", 250.
Yeah.
But no, like maybe. But Tremaine Edmonds is probably gone, and I think there's a world where he leaves just because he wants to go pair up with his brother somewhere. Which there's part of me that hopes Minnesota clears the cap room by then. To go get both Edmondses to replace Harrison Smith and Eric Kendricks. But that's just me being a dreamer, less of a... Oh, yeah. Bills GM Billy Beane came out and explained the challenges of keeping Tremaine Edmonds in Buffalo this offseason.
Yep.
Well, Beane did indicate on Tuesday that the Bills would like to retain Edmonds, if at all possible. He didn't sound too terribly confident in that being the end result, mainly due to salary cap hurdles the organization will face.
If he leaves, I'm not going to be too upset about it.
Sure.
I mean, he did well, but is there better out there? Yes. Will we be able to get it? That's the hard part.
That's the other thing. I think a lot of people forget building an NFL team around positions that aren't that valuable is not smart. Literally take the Vikings as the example. Where is all their money going? To a quarterback who's mediocre, fair. But then after that, what are the biggest contracts? Harrison Smith, a safety. Safeties don't matter in the NFL. They really don't. Look at every team in the playoffs right now, I guess outside of Cincinnati with Jesse Bates, but he's still on his rookie deal. They aren't paying him anything. I guess the same with the Eagles. They have CJ Gardner-Johnson, but they're not paying him anything. He's not getting paid until this offseason, which won't be by the Eagles probably. Like, the Niners and Chiefs have awful safeties because they don't matter that much. So the Vikings built their defense around the two least premium positions in football. And then where's all their money on offense going? A running back and a wide receiver too, who was unathletic when we gave him the contract, and now he's 35, making more money against the salary cap than Devontae Adams.
Yep.
That's a problem. That's not where you invest your money. Obviously, you need to invest in a quarterback, whether that's with money or with draft capital. You have to invest in a quarterback. Outside of that, offensive tackles are the two most important spots. What have the Vikings figured out now? Oh, they have two of the 5 best tackles in football. Good. Cool. Linebackers and safeties aren't that important. What are? Edge rushers and corners. And so what you really want to pay, you want to pay a quarterback, you want to pay a wide receiver, you want to be giving JJ whatever the fuck he wants. If he asks for Minneapolis to be his, like we kick everybody out and he just runs it like it's his own kingdom, fine, give it to him. I don't care. Whatever it is, give it to him. So you pay your quarterback, you pay your receiver, you pay your tackles, you pay your edge rushers, you pay your corners, and you just say fuck it with everything else because you can figure it out because it's not that important. What do the Chiefs do? They pay Patrick Mahomes. They pay Travis Kelce. They're paying... Their tackles are making a ton of money and should be really good. They're just playing like shit, which... fuck. Which sucks for Orlando Brown, their left tackle, because he turned down a $100 million extension in the offseason from the Chiefs and came out and has played like a bottom 5 tackle in football. He fucked himself. He bet on himself and he was wrong, which sucks. But, where else is their money going? Oh, to Chris Jones, an interior pass rusher. But that's the thing. He's a pass rusher. That's what you need. The rest of their money's going to what? L'Jarius Sneed at corner. And, they're not paying big bucks to to positions that don't matter. The only team where the middle linebacker is actually an actual off-ball linebacker plays any real role on a team that's any good is the 49ers. And that's because Fred Warner is the best in the world at what he does. Of course you pay him. Which was the argument, which is why the Vikings paid Eric Kendricks and Harrison Smith. They were the best in the world when you gave them those contracts. They absolutely deserved them. But we've also seen why you don't give guys at those positions that money. You're paying the most value to the least valuable positions, and it doesn't work.
No, time and time again, you can see where it does not pay off.
It happens a lot, and it sucks. But it's also, I also get it from a team perspective. How do you let the best linebacker in football walk away? You don't. How do you let the best safety in football walk away? It's not often you're going to get the best at any position on your team. It's really hard to let those dudes walk. I get it.
Yeah.
But eventually it has to go. And the Vikings, it's going to be tough. I'm switching back to the Vikings. Because I've been thinking about it. It's going to be a really tough offseason for Kwesi. Because how do you go to your management after going 13-4, making the playoffs, winning your division? How do you then go to your management and say, our team's not actually as good as what that record and what last season showed you? Mm-hmm. It really isn't. So all of these guys that you've grown to love and who have been a big part of this organization and who have contributed to the most successful era, kind of, in Vikings history in a long time. We have not been this, I don't want to say continuously successful because it's every other year we're a playoff team. But before that, the Vikings weren't that team either.
Yeah.
It's really been since the 60s, since the Vikings were that team. And then, like, I guess maybe the late 90s, early 2000s, but that, other than the 1998 year, we were really never that team. So,
Yeah. I will say about number one players, yeah, they're hard to let go, but also if they're number one in the league, they're very valuable. And you could get a lot out of them if you play it right.
yeah,
And if you can let a number one go and pick up a couple other guys and also a little more money, gives you a little more money to
yep,
play around with and make a position that, sure, that guy was the best right there, but if you can take a really good position and then turn it into two or three people
right.
that you bring in, and it makes you, instead of number one, a 3/4% at three positions. What I've noticed in the NFL, it's whoever has the most balanced team that
Kind of.
does the best. I mean, I mean, sure, there's
Yeah,
there's times where you're gonna lack a little bit, but still, most teams have really bad weak points, and any good coach and player is going to know about those weak points, and they're going to exploit it. So if you can make as little weak points in your team as possible, then you're going to have a good chance at being successful in football.
yeah, that's valid. But also just getting ownership to sign off on blowing it up after
Yeah.
you just made a pretty big run. Like, I don't know. Like, that's a tough conversation to have. To go to ownership and, well, yes, the numbers show we were this good. This year coming up, we won't be that way if we just run it back. We're going to have a first place schedule, so we aren't playing as easy of teams as we did this year, which we did quite a bit. Now, again, you only play who's in front of you. That's how it works, but let me see. 2023 Vikings schedule. I won't know what weeks we're playing who, but I can tell you who we're playing. Yeah, so this year for the Vikings, we get the Falcons, the Panthers, the Bears, the Broncos. That all doesn't sound too bad. The Lions, Packers, Raiders, Bears, Saints, Buccaneers, Chiefs, Chargers, Bengals, Niners, Eagles. Those are the best teams in football. We're getting all of the best teams in football, realistically, outside of what, Buffalo? We're not playing them 2 years in a row? Cool. Like, you gotta eventually, we can't keep kicking the can down the road with, we'll restructure Harrison Smith again, we'll restructure Kendricks again. We can't. Eventually, you have to blow it up, and we might have already waited a year too long. We can't wait another year to where Kendricks won't be any good at all or Harrison won't be any good at all. We got to move on before that point. Like, you cannot.
Yeah.
You can't be the team who gives up their guys a year too late instead of a year too early. If Harrison Smith goes and has a defensive player of the year case somewhere else, yes, that's going to suck. But I'd rather be a year too early than a year too late. Because as constructed, we're not winning a Super Bowl this year. Like, no matter what next year, we aren't winning a Super Bowl, so what's the point of running it back?
Mm-hmm.
Like, blow it up. Go build through the draft. Get some guys through free agency. Find your quarterback of the future, because it can't be Kirk. I saw some things about the Vikings possibly extending him. That's stupid. He's 36. You do not extend him. You go draft your QB, or in a perfect world that would suck for me, this is one of those I lose but I win moments. If the 49ers win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy, which would suck for me because I don't even dislike Brock Purdy. I dislike the way people talk about him. He's not that good. But if the Niners win a Super Bowl with him and go into the offseason saying, obviously we're going to stick with Purdy. We have to rock with this dude, which makes sense. He did just win you a Super Bowl. Like, that is a valid way of thinking.
Right.
If Trey Lance is on the table, you make the call. Absolutely. You make that fucking call. Oh,
Right.
my God.
Yeah.
I get it.
No shit.
He's already 3 years into his career, which means we lose some of that rookie contract. But guess what? He hasn't proven anything either. When we go, if we go trade for him, extend him now at $15 million a year before he's hit it big. So he's getting good money anyways. Fuck, give him 15 a year fully guaranteed. I don't care. Like, I really don't. And even if he wants to make it just a 3-year deal, that's still guaranteeing 5 years of a cheaper quarterback contract, right?
Yep.
5
that'll give you a lot of cap space too.
And that's a 5-year window of now is our time. Maybe. Could Trey Lance suck? Sure. Could any quarterback we go draft suck? Sure. That's how this works. You got to take the gamble. You can't just keep riding with mediocrity. Shoot high. Please. Please,
Yeah.
God.
Playing it safe all the time isn't going to get you anywhere most of the time. So
No, it's going to get you where the Vikings have been.
Mm-hmm.
Either barely making the playoffs or barely missing it, never having the draft capital to go really improve, but never being bad enough where you want to blow it up. Eventually, you've got to take a shot. Eventually. You have to just go for it. And if we're being honest, this is a new GM who definitely just earned his in with the organization. Like, they're not going to be looking at firing him for years to come. Same with the coach. You just earned your in because the team had won. This is very important, and this is why I was so mad about Kevin O'Connell not being a Coach of the Year candidate. The team won 15 games in 2021 and 2020 combined. You won 13 in 2022. That's an incredible jump. Like,
Yep.
that just earned Kevin O'Connell the entire length of his first contract. Like, it doesn't matter. We can go out and not win a game next year. Guess what? Kevin O'Connell won't even be on the hot seat. Like, you have now built that trust within the organization. Now's the time. And Kwesi has to know this. He is not a huge football guy. God damn it, we weren't going to get into this. Maybe this just means I don't rant about the Vikings as much on Run the North this week, which is probably a good thing.
It always happens. We always don't dive into the sports deal, and it just happens every time.
Yeah, we get like kind of in it, and then I just get sucked in because, like, oh my God, I have opinions.
Well, that's literally what you do for a living, so it's really hard to not talk about it.
That's fair.
Especially when we're just having a conversation.
That's fair. But, like, oh God, I just lost what I was going to say. Oh, Kwesi isn't a big football guy. His background isn't in football. I think 3 years ago, he was a stockbroker for like a major bank on Wall Street. Like, he's an analytical numbers guy. And what do the numbers tell you in NFL history? You don't win paying a quarterback more than 12% of your salary cap. I gotta double check. What percentage of the salary cap is Kirk Cousins contract? The only quarterbacks who have won without being or taking up more than 12% of their team's cap is Brady and Matthew Stafford last year. Which, what did the Rams do last year? They already had the team built. They traded for Stafford. Then they traded for Von Miller. Then they signed OBJ. They mortgaged everything for that ring, and they got it. But also,
now you see what happened.
They're so fucked. They have no picks. They have no cap room, and their team sucks. Because what happened? Von Miller was a free agent after the trade anyways, so he walked to a team with a brighter future in the Bills. How much brighter is it at this point? Not really sure. Kind of confused. that window might have closed. You might got to open a new window. I don't know how you do it, but whatever. What else happened? Stafford gets hurt. OBJ walks.
Mm-hmm.
The guy you signed to replace OBJ, Allen Robinson, sucks. Your 3 best offensive linemen either retire or walk in free agency, so now your O-line is atrocious. On defense, outside of Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, you have no dudes. There are no other good players on that defense. You're fucked. Like, maybe getting Stafford back healthy next year, if he even comes back, there is still a very good shot that Stafford retires. I gotta check it. I gotta see if that's still a thing. Will Matthew Stafford retire? I've seen. Oh, apparently he's made it. Oh, within the last 2 weeks, he's made it clear he's not retiring. But the neck injury he had could have caused that. I mean, he made apparently an official announcement on January 9th that I saw nowhere, which is wild. But Stafford's going to be back. So maybe with the return of Stafford, maybe you can be good. But can you win a Super Bowl? Again? Can the Rams team, how it is right now, because there's not that much improving you can do to it.
Right.
Can they beat the Eagles? Can they beat the Niners? Can they beat the Cowboys?
I think they can, but it's not going to be. It's going to be a really rocky road, and everybody is going to have to be healthy.
Yep.
Losing Cooper Kupp, that was a
Cooper Kupp
too.
going down was a problem for sure.
Yeah.
But it's wild. I mean, you got the ring, so nobody's ever really gonna care. But damn, dude.
You know what would really sucked for them? Is they did all this shit and then lost.
Right. If you don't win the Super Bowl, this looks like the worst. If they didn't win a Super Bowl last year, I almost guarantee McVay and Snead, their GM, get fired.
Yeah.
As much of a genius as McVay is, I think it would be, dude, we mortgaged everything for you, and you didn't do it.
And you still lost.
Winning it again, that buys you a lot of time.
Yeah.
But man, is the future bleak for that team. Same with the Broncos. Future's kind of bleak at the moment. You can't really improve the team. You really got to just hope Russ bounces back. Because if he doesn't, man, are the next 5 years going to be rough in Denver. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
My favorite one that I hope... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say that, Russ struggled, but I don't know. The Broncos team just acted like they didn't want to play. And I did see some improvement after they did have a new coach come in.
That's true. There is a chance.
I do believe that they are going to have a better record next year than they did this year.
They almost have
that would
to.
Be hard. That wouldn't be hard to do.
Right.
But I don't know. And maybe they'll surprise us. I mean, they have one hell of a defense. So
they're not a bad team. It's all about if Russ can even be half of what he was in Seattle. Denver could be a scary team. Can he be, though, is a very interesting question.
Yeah.
But you know what quarterback I hope never figures it out? Deshaun Watson.
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, that's a good quarterback to never figure it out.
He sucked. And, dude, the Browns have fucked over the entire NFL with that because of the contract they gave him. Deshaun Watson is counting $55 million against the cap next year. That is $20 more million than Kirk. And I think 15 more than Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. You're not going to win with that guy, man. I don't care if he comes back to what he was. What do you do when Myles Garrett's
such
contract?
good deals.
Right? Dude, and it's that contract that is why the Ravens are going to lose Lamar. I was listening to the Stay Hot podcast earlier. They had Brett Coleman on it. And Brett brought up the fact that Deshaun's contract is the reason why the Ravens are probably going to lose out on Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing he brought up that is important, these guaranteed deals, like Lamar's, or like Deshaun's $250 million guaranteed whatever, all of those guarantees, every bit of that money, the day that contract is signed, that liquid cash has to be deposited in like an escrow account. Somehow these owners have to come up with, for, $250 million in liquid cash? Well, that doesn't sound like that big of a deal. These owners are rich. Not all of them are that rich.
Yeah.
$250 million to the Ravens owner, I think, is like 10% of his net worth. Or something silly. Maybe not 10. Ravens owner net worth. Okay, so yeah, so for the contract Lamar wants, I'm sorry, my brain is not working. I'm doing the math real quick. Yeah, sorry, I was a little off. But Lamar, if he got that contract tomorrow, the Ravens owner would be just having to find liquid cash worth 5% of his net worth. That's a lot of money. Like, I now, for some owners, it doesn't matter. The Rams owner is like worth $80 billion. It truly doesn't matter. Jerry Jones is worth $100 billion. It really doesn't matter. I don't think that's exactly accurate. Or the Broncos owners now, the Walton family who own Walmart. Yeah, they can get $300 million in liquid cash in 20 minutes, I'm sure. But for the Ravens owner, it's not that easy. For some of these not as rich owners, I get they're still worth billions, right? But like, that's a lot of liquid cash to have to be able to find a way to move relatively quickly. I mean, look at the Bengals. The reason they, haven't had the best facilities and the reason Jesse Bates is about to leave Cincinnati is because their owner legitimately does not have the money to do any sort of guaranteed contract. Every offensive lineman they signed in the offseason, their guarantees were for this year and this year alone. None of the rest of their contract is a guarantee because he doesn't have the money to move the liquid cash it takes to sign these guys to guarantees. The only guy the Bengals are going to make that exception for is Joe Burrow. Because of fucking course you would. It's Joe goddamn Burrow. But what you're also going to hope is that you can do more of a Patrick Mahomes type deal with him. The 12-year, $500 million sounds like a lot, but turns out his cap hit is less than all of these shitty quarterbacks because of the way you move the money around and do it smart.
Yeah.
You don't end up like the Browns with Deshaun Watson or like the Cowboys with Dak and Zeke. Those contracts don't look good right now. Now, Dak, I'm going to defend. We talked about it. It's the mentality. It's the gunslinger mentality. The way the Cowboys game went, that was entirely within the range of expected outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like Dak played so astronomically bad. No, he missed some throws.
Underperformed, really. I mean, he missed a few throws.
He missed some throws and some bad turnovers. That sucks. Whatever. What can you do?
It happens.
Had the defense actually done their part, I know they held the 49ers to a pretty low score. You had 4 interceptions of Brock Purdy that were directly in your hands that you dropped. Catch any one of those and you win that game.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, on 2 of them you score, which means you win that game. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's just unlucky. Like, it entirely is. What about that final play in that Cowboys-Niners game, though? You were here for that.
That's the only thing I could say about Dak. I don't know what in the hell.
He didn't call that play. His
Well, I know he didn't call that
decision of
play.
where to throw it was stupid, though.
That's what I was getting at. Like, the one guy that doesn't have blockers for him.
Right? You had
threw it to him.
offensive lineman out as lead block. I feel so bad for Zeke, though. He's taking so much heat right now.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That was such a shitty block. I promise you, Zeke did not think anyone was going to rush him at all. I think he stood up to act like he was going to block. I think he had a route he was supposed to run. But then he sees dude coming because you see him kind of get down and brace, but it just wasn't enough. I don't think he thought there was a chance in hell that he was getting rushed right there, and he just got flattened. It was great.
Well, right. Wait, I want anybody out there who thinks they're really good at football to have a big guy like that have a full head of steam, and you stand up and stand there and be able to take him on.
I promise you I'm running through him every time that way, and he's running through me every time that way.
Every time. Basic physics.
Yep.
Objects in motion tend to stay in motion.
That's true. That's true.
He was standing there.
Yeah, Zeke was not an immovable object.
He was pass blocking.
Right?
If you look at the play, when he snaps the ball and stands up, there's like 6 or 7 yards a gap.
Yep.
So one, he's thinking, okay, this guy's so far off, he's not going to rush.
Right.
And two, oh shit, he's rushing and he's got a full head of steam.
I genuinely think, because if you kind of look at the way that was set up, I think Zeke was supposed to shade out behind those blockers on the right side, and Zeke was supposed to get the ball first because he's the most likely not to make a man miss, but if somebody's able to get their hands on him, he's the most likely to get through a tackle, allow you to keep the play going, make a pitch to a different guy. Like, to me, that makes sense.
That or
CeeDee Lamb, because he's fucking CeeDee Lamb. Sorry.
Yeah. The only other thing the person that he threw to, the only thing I could think of is if they planned on throwing to him and then him pitching it.
Maybe.
Or something like that.
But he didn't.
But
Dak should have seen he wasn't going to have time to pitch. I don't know who it was. It might have been Jimmy Ward, was bearing down on him so fast. Oh my God.
But I mean, Dak kind of got it out a little bit fast, so maybe he just
thought he
didn't
had
see it.
to.
Yeah, because
I think he thought he was about to die.
Yeah. Well, Zeke died.
Right. Oh my God, man, it's funny.
I laughed at that play for a while. That was something to watch.
I remember we both just sat there, kind of mouth wide open, and I just remember me saying 4 times, just, dude, what the fuck was that? No, like, seriously, what the fuck was that? How? No, what pisses me off more is McCarthy wasn't smart enough. When they lined up in that formation and the Niners called a timeout to match it and beat it, why wouldn't you change your play call?
Right.
That's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
The other team has just now built their defense to stop what you're doing, or at least what they think you're doing. I'm not even sure if Mike McCarthy knew what he thought he was doing. Or Kellen Moore, whoever it was, whichever guy called that play. Dude, I think it was just a fuck it, let's draw something up like backyard football. Dude, this is the NFL. That's not going to work.
Yeah, you're not brilliant enough to do that.
Oh my God, that was awful, but it was hilarious.
It was fun to watch.
Oh my God.
I will say that.
It was something, for sure. Now I just need the Eagles to go and do what they're best at. Beat the shit out of the Niners. I don't even know if that's what they're best at, but I need them to do it either way. Yeah. So I'm very happy about this. Frank Reich, former Colts head coach, signed to be the Carolina Panthers head coach for next year. So Frank Reich was the first ever starting quarterback in Carolina Panthers history. He is now their head coach, and he is also the first offensive-minded head coach in Carolina Panthers history.
Really?
Yeah. Panthers have never hired an offensive guy. Always been defensive. Always.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like a Carolina thing to do.
Right?
I thought I seen a thing today where somebody thought for sure that Aaron Rodgers was going to go to the Lions.
Oh, that makes no sense.
I think it was the Lions or something like that.
I know there are a lot of reports about the Jets.
Maybe it was the Jets I was thinking of. Oh, yeah, it was the Jets. Because who was it that used to be a coach for that?
Oh, Nathaniel Hackett, the Broncos head coach from last year. And the year before that, he was Aaron Rodgers' offensive coordinator. He just signed on to be the offensive coordinator of the Jets, which means the Jets have just done the same thing the Broncos did. We're hiring an idiot because we think it'll help us get Aaron. When Aaron decides to stay in Green Bay, the Jets' offense is going to suck because Hackett's not good. Of course, Aaron Rodgers will make it look good because that is the baddest man on the planet. We've been saying it for 20 fucking years now. That's just what Rodgers is. Like, dude, how many quarterbacks do you know that'll throw 50 touchdowns and only 2 picks? Like, dude, Aaron's that guy. I don't care. You can say what you want about how kind of moronic he is with some of the shit he says.
That's fair.
But, like,
yeah,
dude, as a quarterback, outside of Patrick Mahomes, we've never even seen anyone close to his talent level. Like, there is not a throw in the world Rodgers can't make. There's just not.
Yeah.
Like, if he was 10 years younger, he'd get a bigger deal than Mahomes did if he were hitting the market right now. He just would. Yeah, I'm a little sad. The Vikings, Brian Flores, former Dolphins head coach, current Steelers defensive assistant and linebackers coach, was in the building today to interview for our defensive coordinator job. Apparently, we let him leave the building, which was a mistake. With Frank Reich just signing a head coaching job, with Dan Quinn, the Cowboys defensive coordinator, saying he's not going to coach anywhere else. He's returning to the Cowboys as DC. And the Gus Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator, deciding to stick in Detroit. Flores might get real head coaching opportunities now. You should not have let him leave. Fuck. I swear to God. Oh, dude. The actual fucking screaming I will do because we interviewed Mike Pettin for our defensive coordinator position. He was the DC in Green Bay a few years ago. He's awful. If that's the guy we pick, I might call for KOC's head. Like, genuinely. You can't pick this guy. You cannot. You cannot say like you want to improve and then pick that guy. Also, I find this a little confusing. Oh, go ahead and say what you were going to say.
This sounds like a Viking thing to do.
It really does, and I hate it. So, along with all the other awards that we talked about, the NFL announced their finalists for MVP. There's one guy on the list that confuses me. And I wonder if you're going to agree. So the finalists, your top 3, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. No surprise.
No.
Next guy on the list is the one I'm confused about. Josh Allen. Why is he in the running for MVP? This was like his worst year statistically since he was a rookie. why is he? I get it. He is an incredible player, and he will probably always be in this conversation. But why is he a finalist this year? That just doesn't.
If I had to pick somebody over Josh Allen to take that spot, I would have to pick Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, thank you. Trevor Lawrence is fucking phenomenal. Especially,
and I also believe that their coach should be.
Oh yeah, I really. It's gonna be hard not to give it to Brian Dable, but Doug Peterson
should still at least be acknowledged.
Oh, Doug Peterson did get acknowledged, so we're good there. Okay. Yeah, we're good there.
All right, because the original list I seen, they didn't have him listed. They also had Sean McDermott up there, which.
Oh my God, why? The Bills disappointed in the regular season and the postseason. How do you have that guy as a coach of the year candidate? It doesn't make sense.
I think Sean's a good coach.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's something people miss. By me saying he doesn't deserve to be coach of the year, that's not me saying he's bad. That's me saying there are 5 coaches this year who did a better job with their teams than he did.
Right. Well, the coaches of the years usually need to be you have to look at they exceeded expectations.
Yep.
They didn't, underperform.
Right.
Like, I get it. Sometimes your team just, has tough luck and it doesn't go the way you hoped. And it's not always your fault as a coach, but
you want to know how I know the NFL is actually biased against the Vikings? I learned this today, and it pissed me off. In 1998, the Vikings went 15-1 and had the greatest offense ever seen on a football field by every metric. Dennis Green, the head coach that year, of the team with the best record and who way exceeded expectations, did not win Coach of the Year. How? Like, what?
Yeah, how do you choose anybody
sense,
other than him?
Right? But the final MVP candidate is someone we all know won't win. But as he posted on Twitter, I'm honored to be a candidate. Justin Jefferson. The only non-quarterback to make the finalist list for MVP. And he absolutely deserves to be on that list.
Yeah.
The Vikings won 11 one-score games. I don't know if we win a single one of them without JJ. I know we don't beat the Bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God. 4th and 18. Fuck it. Jetta's down there somewhere.
Yeah.
He was, too. He was down there somewhere. But, all right. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up here?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
All right.
To be honest, so.
Yeah.
Turned out to be another sports one. But.
Oh, real quick. Just saw this tweet. Some guy tweeted out the Panthers are no longer an option for Sean Payton, which is true. They hired a different coach. And there was an issue with Payton's interview with the Broncos. Payton likes the idea of coaching Russell Wilson and having that defense, but fears a potential power struggle with a member of the ownership group. Source says, you want to know how to really make yourself look like a fucking idiot? When Sean Payton quote tweets you and says zero truth to this, we had a great visit and Broncos ownership is fantastic. Yeah. So how do you feel about it's like, oh my God, I don't really want to get into it, but I think I mentioned it to you. Yeah, it was in the truck with your mom on the way to darts, the fucking idiot in Kentucky, the guy running for governor who, well, my sources said, and then never apologized for just making shit up. That's about the same way. Your sources were very fucking wrong. like, maybe have sources that actually know what the fuck they're talking about, dog. Like, come on now.
My sources were I dreamt it once.
Dude, source. Who knows? Source. I
didn't
made
say
it up.
what source.
Source.
It was
I made
my
it
own
up.
source.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's wild. But all right. We'll go ahead and wrap it up there. The fact that I came across that tweet just now is funny. Zero truth to this.
Have fun on your whatever North thing you're doing.
Yeah, now I gotta go record Run the North,
Yeah.
our sports podcast. So we gotta talk about every team except the Vikings, probably, which is valid.
Yeah.
None of us get to talk about our teams. The Bears, Packers, and Vikings all suck. So
yeah, well,
that's how it
maybe
works.
someday.
We didn't win a playoff game, so we all suck. We all suck equal levels.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that'll do it for us. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.